So, good afternoon. Third year BA Computer Applications, Semester 6 PHP, Programming in PHP. Already we started with some PPTs. So, today we discuss about uh, this PPT about to describe about introduction about PHP programming. So what are the today's topics covered? What are the today's topics? Introduction means server-side web programming, client-side client-server systems, comparison with static HTML, PHP. What is it? What does it do? PHP language basics, syntax, variables, constants, operators, decision making, PHP and the clients. So all these things we are going to discuss today. So client server, what are client server technologies? What are client server computing on www? So standard websites operate on a request response basis. Generally all websites generally works on client server environment. Client server environment generally works on request response basis, means generally the client requests for something about something on web server, and the web server or server responses as per the request in a HTML manner. A user requests a resource, example HTML document. Server responds by delivering the document to the client. The client processes the document and displays it to the users. So this is the working of a client server environment or client server technologies. So all the websites or programming or web pages are generally works on internet and follows the same technique. So standard websites operates on a request response basis. The user requests a resource. Generally clients or users request for some page, HTML page or a web page. Server responds by delivering the document to the client. Generally clients sends a request and server responses to the according to the client's requirement, and it sends the document, HTML page or HTML documents sent back to the client, and server responds by delivering the document to the client, and the client processes the document and displays it to the user. And what the client to do is it simply executes the page, it simply executes or runs the page and displays the output on the screen. So this is the working of a client server environment on www. So server side programming, there are two types of programmings or two types of scriptings are available. Basically there are two types of scriptings are available. First one is server side scripting and second one is client side scripting. Client side scripting is generally done at the client level by using means at client side level or client side devices or client side computers in a network, in a internet, whereas server side programming or server side scripts are generally works or executes or runs on a server machines like web servers, Windows servers machines, like that. So these are the two types of scriptings. These are the two types of scriptings: server side scripting and client side scripting. Generally in client side scripting we may use HTML as a basic language. Why? Because HTML is used at both the server side and client side both, whereas JavaScript is used, JavaScript is used for client-side programming, and PHP, VB script, ASP.NET, and C# and other scripting languages are generally runs at server side. So these there are these two types of scripting languages are generally used. One type of scripting language is called as client-side scripting. Generally, it runs on client systems or client devices or client machines, like client mobiles, like that. Second type of systems or second type of programming, like server-side scripting. Generally, these scripts or these programs are generally executes at server programming, at server machines. So generally, server-side programming provides website developers to utilize resources on the web server, and non-public resources do not require direct access from the clients, and allows websites to be client agnostic unless JavaScript is used. Most server-side programming script is embedded within markup language. So generally how website developers uses the resources, means the application programs, databases, some printers on the server side machines or server side web servers, and non-public resources do not require direct access. Generally, non-public means end users. They don't have any requirement, or they didn't have any requirement of to the resources from the servers. So generally they don't allow to access directly from the servers, so that they can access or they can communicate with the client machines only. Next, allows websites to be client agnostic. Next, most server-side programming scripts is embedded within. Generally, all server-side scripting languages, not only server-side, client-side programming also, they can't be used directly within the system. They can be used along with some scripting languages like HTML. So both client-side systems or client-side client-server systems or client server-side scripting languages can be used within or embedded within server side, embedded within the HTML pages only, so that we can use HTML as a scripting language, main scripting language for both server side machines and client side machines. So these two scripting languages, like server side scripting language as well as client side scripting language, are used along with basic scripting language like HTML. There are many other types of scripting languages are also available, like HTML and JavaScript, Perl script, ASP.NET, C#, JSP. So that HTML is generally used with all these type of scripting languages at server side as well as client side. Next, what is PHP and what is PHP, how PHP runs and how PHP works. So PHP means PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. What is PHP? PHP is a acronym for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. It is a programming language that is interpreted and executed on the server. Generally, PHP is a programming language. It is also a scripting language, but mainly it is a programming language that is interpreted. So what is interpreted? Interpreted means it is translated while using or while running the programs, or while generally they can be run by using some interpreters. So and executes on the servers. Generally all PHP scripts are executed on the server side machines, and execution is done before delivering content to the client. So while running PHP script, first execution or running of the script, or running of the script is taking place, then only the content will be, or the result will be delivered to the client machines. So and contains a vast library of functionality that programmers can harness. Generally, PHP contains many types of libraries or library functions, different categories of library functions. They contains different categories of library, contains vast library collection of libraries, so that programmers can easily design and develop variety of applications, web applications, content of web applications, and executes entirely on the server, requiring no specific features from the clients. So generally PHP is a server side scripting language, so that it can be easily runs on, or it can directly runs on. Generally it can runs on server side machine only, and there is no interference of client side machines, or there is no client requirement is required. Next, so how PHP PHP scripts are executed, and what is PHP, and how it is works on a web server. So static resources such as regular HTML are simply output to the client from the server. So here we use two types of terminologies are used. First one is static pages and dynamic pages. Second one is dynamic pages. Static pages means ordinary HTML pages. Generally ordinary HTML pages can run directly on the client systems, or they can directly run on the server system, and the output will be sent to the server. And dynamic resources such as PHP scripts are processed on the server prior to beginning output to the client. So So dynamic resources such as PHP scripts are processed on the server prior being output to the client. So in the PHP is a dynamic scripting language, whereas HTML is a purely static scripting language. So while using PHP, generally the PHP scripts are runs and processes on the server, and the results are sent back to the client systems or client machines. PHP has the capability of connecting to many databases systems, making the entire process transparent to the client. So another important feature of PHP, using PHP is PHP has the capability, means PHP is easily used with any type of databases. So there are many types of database vendors or database softwares are there. PHP is generally used to connect to any type of databases like Microsoft Access, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, Sybase, MySQL. MySQL is generally used, it is the compatible database generally used with PHP programming. So in this diagram, generally the end user or the client generally request a web page to the server, and the server generally the server machine have some web servers and PHP interpreters. They simply load the PHP file into the PHP engine. In the server machine only some PHP engines are there. What is PHP engine? PHP engines are some engines, and they simply runs the PHP scripts or PHP programs and send back the results, if any, to the these servers. So the server loads the PHP file into PHP engine, and again the PHP engine interprets the PHP program or PHP script and send back the PHP results to the web server. Again the web server simply sends the results back to HTML response by using some HTML response to the users, so that the user finally or the client displays get his output on the screen by using some HTML programs. So what are the main summary of what are the main points of using PHP? So PHP means PHP hypertext preprocessor and interpreted and executed by the server on the PH request. So PHP is a scripting language and it is also a language, a programming language used with other types of programming scripting languages like HTML. So PHP uses interpreters. PHP uses interpreters to interpret or to translate any PHP program to the result and returns simple output to the client. Generally, PHP programs returns simple output to the clients. Means generally PHP uses some output. They give some directly give the results to the client systems or client machines only. Provides a tremendous amount of functionality to programming because of using many types of functions or functionalities, can connect transparently to many databases. Another important feature of PHP using PHP is to directly use any type of database and PHP. Another feature is PHP can run on any type of environment. Means PHP scripts or programs can run on any type of operating systems like Windows, Unix, Linux, and any type of systems, means any type of hardware systems. So these are the important features. So generally PHP contains language. It is having all the features. It is having all the basic concepts, language features like variables, constants, data types, statements, like that. So in this slide we may start with the PHP language basics. So look at the building blocks of PHP. So what are the main features of what are the main components of PHP language? Means syntax and structure. So every statement, PHP statement has a specific syntax and a structure, and in PHP also we may use some variables, constants, operators, like that. And PHP also have some data types and conversions, and PHP also have some type of decision statements like if statement, looping statements like for statement, switching statements, and like that, like other programming languages like C and others, and interacting with the client application using HTML forms. Another feature of PHP is by using some HTML, we may create HTML forms, and we may use HTML forms and PHP to interact with the client applications. So what is the PHP syntax and what is the structure of a PHP program? What is the PHP syntax, and what is the structure of a PHP program? PHP is almost similar to a C program. PHP is almost similar to the, it means it is almost similar to the programming language like C. All scripts start with less than question mark PHP and ends with question mark greater than. So line separator. So semicolon is the line separator. Like in C language, generally in C language, semicolon is used at the end of the line or at the end of the statement in every line of a program. Like that only, a semicolon is a terminator, or a semicolon is also used with PHP lines or PHP programs only. So every PHP program or every PHP line should end with a semicolon. And code blocks means like the statements, some statements or set of statements or group of statements written in some curly braces, like in C, C++, Java. So braces are brackets. Generally, like in C, C++, Java, we may use same code blocks. Or brackets to use set of statements or group of statements. And white space is generally ignored, not in strings. So comments are created using slash star and star slash and a double slash. So generally, like in C and C++ and Java. Comments generally in PHP are written by using like slash star and star slash and double slash, and white space is generally ignored. White spaces means like tabs, spaces are generally ignored by the PHP programs. And precedence, operator precedence, where like in C, C++, Java, some operating, there are many types of operators are used, and operator precedence is also followed in C, C++. So some order of precedence of operators are generally used while using PHP programs also, like brackets. BODMAS means simply it follows, it also PHP also follows BODMAS rules. So variables, so what are PHP variables and how to use PHP variables in PHP programs? So generally in PHP programs, every variable is prefixed with a dollar sign. So like not like in C, C++, Java programs. For example, in C program, we may use a variable called A is equals to some 10. Whereas while used in PHP, we may use a dollar sign. We may use a dollar sign, means every variable in PHP, every variable in PHP should be prefixed with a dollar sign. Means all variables should be started or prefixed with a dollar sign, and assign values with equals to operator. Generally assignment operator in like in C and C++ Java, the equals to is also equals to symbol is also used as an assignment operator. So equals to means an assignment operator, whereas double equals to means it is a comparison operator. Example is ampersand author is equals to within quotes some text or some other name, semicolon. No need to define type, and variable names are case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive means all PHP scripts or programs are by default they are case sensitive, means only lowercase variables or lowercase variables or programs are used. Example, $other and $other are different. So case sensitive is purely case sensitive is not applicable in PHP program, means the variable should be the characters in a variable should be written in a correct way, in an appropriate way. Next, this is the simple example of using a PHP script. So how to use PHP script? Less than $PHP $other is equals to within quotes some variable some text, semicolon, and $MSG is equals to within quotes some message, and echo $other comma within quotes some message comma $message, and greater than. So generally in PHP, all PHP scripts and programs are written in between less than $PHP and greater than, and all PHP variables are written. All PHP variables are generally written with some dollar sign, predefined with some dollar sign. Examples are $other, $MSG, like that. And echo is the output operator. Echo is the output operator or output statement to display some message. And every PHP statement should terminates with a semicolon symbol, and all PHP scripts should terminates with a greater than symbol. So this is the basic syntax of how to use or how to write PHP programs and how to use PHP statements. So next is about PHP constants. So what are constants? PHP constants. Constants are specific variables that cannot be changed. So what is the difference between a variable and a constant? A variable means it may vary its value during program execution, whereas constants are fixed values. and they can't change their values during program running. Use them for named items that will not change, and created using a define function. So define function is generally used to create some constants. And operators. So what are PHP operators? So like in C and C++ Java, there are different types of operators are also available in PHP. Like in C language, different operators like arithmetic operators, string operators, character operators, logical operators, relational operators are there. Similarly, in PHP also there are many types of operators are used, like standard mathematical operators like arithmetic operators like plus, minus, star, slash and modulus are used. Plus for addition, minus for subtraction, star for division, slash for division, and modulus for percentage for modulus operator. It is also called as remainder operator. String concatenation with a period. So period operator or a dot operator. Period operator or a dot operator is generally used as a string concatenation. String concatenation means to concatenate or to join two or more strings. To join or two or more strings by using a dot operator. Dot operator is generally treated as a string concatenation operator or string joining operator in PHP. So example is $car is equals to within quotes seat dot within quotes some alt here. So echo $car. Echo is the standard output of function like printf statement, like printf statement like in C language, and echo is the standard output operator or output statement. Basic Boolean comparison with double equals to. So what are the Boolean operators? So what are the difference between n equals to and double equals to? What are the differences between n equals to and double equals to? So single equals to is an assignment operator, whereas double equals to is the comparison operator. So using a single, only one equals to will overwrite a variable value less than, and other types of operators like relational operators like less than or equals to, greater than or equals to are also used. In PHP also single equals to is used for assignment operator, whereas double equals to is used for comparison operator. So data types, another important concept or another important setup question from unit 1 in PHP is data types. So data type, what are the data types and what are the different types of data types are available, and we explain everything about. So PHP is not strictly typed language. Typed language, what is typed language? Typed language means you should follow exact syntax and exact typing of the syntax, and you should follow the punctuation symbols, you should follow the some operators, symbols, like that. But PHP is not strictly typed language, means you can use any type of you can change, or you can change slightly, slightly in the syntax of operator or syntax of a variable, like that. A data type is either text or numeric. Data type is either text or numeric. Generally the data types used in PHP are either text or numeric, means there are only two types of data can be used, or two types of data can be allowed. First one is text data type and another is numeric data type. PHP decides what type a variable is. PHP can use variables in an appropriate way automatically. Example, dollar variable is equals to 0.175 semicolon, and echo dollar VAT variable, and like that. So object, array and unknown also exists at types. Be aware of them, but we shall not. So PHP embedded language. So PHP, another feature of PHP is PHP scripts or PHP programs can be embedded anywhere in HTML, means PHP scripts or PHP programs can be placed or can be embedded or can be used directly inside HTML. Means the syntax is HTML head title slash head body and h1 slash h1 and so whenever you want to insert or whenever you want to embed any PHP script simply use less than question mark PHP. You simply use less than question mark PHP and question mark greater than script in any HTML script. Decision making. So how to use decisions, how to take decisions statements, how to use decision statements and how to use decision statements and what are decision making statements, how to use them in PHP. So we know that generally in C and C++ and Java also if statement is used as a decision statement. If statement is used as a decision statement. So decision making involves evaluating Boolean expressions. Means generally in decision making or decision statements, the condition is first evaluated. And tested, and if the condition is generally the condition returns some true or false values. So simple example is if within brackets dollar some variable name and brackets some statements. True and false are reserved words, and generally in PHP true and false are reserved words. Why? Because true and false words have some predefined word meaning and they can't be used as a variable in a program. And initialize as like this. So and compare with double equals to, and as we already discussed in the previous slide, so there are three types of operators are used. First one is arithmetical or mathematical operators like plus for addition, minus for subtraction, star for division, percentage for modulus or remainder, single equals to for assignment, and double equals to for comparison. So these are arithmetic operators or mathematical operators. Second type of operators are relational operators. Generally relational operators are used to compare two values or two expressions or two variables or a combination of a variable, expression and constant, like a variable and an expression and a variable, like that. So what are comparison operators? Comparison operators are generally used like less than or equals to, greater than or equals to, equals to, not equals to, like that. So logical operators, third type of operators are logical operators. So logical operators are basically and, or, not. Logical operators are three types, and, capital R and capital not. So these three are logical operators. Generally logical operators are used along with some to test two or more conditions. Generally logical operators and, or, not are used to test and compare two or more conditions. So how to use a conditional operator, how to use an if statement, how to use conditions in PHP. So if statement is used. If statement is generally used to do some comparisons or to test some conditions in PHP. So how to use if statement? Use it to perform a conditional branch. The syntax is if within brackets Boolean expression, if within brackets Boolean expression and bracket open one or more comments or statements, bracket close, else again brackets open some statements, bracket close. Means first the Boolean expression or the given condition is tested. If the given condition is true, then first set of statements are first statement block is executed, else if the given statement is false, or if the given statement is false, then the second set of statements or second statements are executed. This is the if simple if statement, or conditional statements. So PHP switch statement, another statement is another type of another statement, frequently used statement is switch statement. So what are conditional statements? Conditional statement is if statement. If statement is basically a conditional statement to test a given conditions in PHP, whereas switch statement is also called as multiple if statement. Switch statement is also called as multiple if statements. Means if you if you are going to test multiple values or more than one value or more than one test result, you may prefer to use switch statement. Switch statement is also syntactically same as like in other statements or other languages like C, Java and others. So useful when a Boolean expression may have many options. So generally switch statement is generally used with multiple to test multiple values, and the syntax is almost equivalent to C language or C++ language or Java. Like syntax is switch within brackets $some variable. So the syntax is switch within brackets $some variable, bracket open, case 0 colon case 1 colon case 2 colon case default, like that. So if the value of the variable choice is 0, then the first set of statements are executed, and if the value of the variable choice is 1, then another set of statements are executed, and if the value of choice is 3, then third set of statements are used. Default is the last option used in the switch statement. If none of the above cases are matched, means if the value is not matched with any not matched with any above statements, then only the default statement is used. Default means which is used as a last statement, means generally the last statement is generally used as a default statement. So we may continue in the next class. So this PPT covers and explains all the basic concepts like so what is client server environment, and what is server side programming, what is client side programming, what are client server systems, and what is static HTML, and what is dynamic HTML, what is PHP, how to use it, and what is PHP language basics. Briefly explains about PHP language basics like syntax, variables, constants, and data types in various data types in PHP, and various like that, and syntax of the statements, and variables, what are variables, constants, and operators, different types of operators used in PHP like arithmetic operators, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, divisions, relational operators like less than, greater than or equals to, not equals to.